For years, the McCain family has stood as one of America's most recognizable political dynasties, defined by service, sacrifice, and an unshakable commitment to country. Yet beneath the headlines, the campaign trails, and the Senate floor debates, there existed a quieter story, one of sibling bonds, private grief, and unanswered questions. Recently, Meghan McCain, the outspoken daughter of the late Senator John McCain, broke her silence about her older brother Doug McCain in a way that has left many listeners stunned and searching for understanding. While the public has long known of Doug's passing in 2020 at the age of 66, the full emotional weight behind that loss, along with certain long-whispered questions about the circumstances surrounding his death, has remained largely unspoken, until now. In her recent emotional reflections, shared across her podcast and social media platforms, Meghan McCain offered something she had rarely given before: raw, unfiltered access to her personal grief. She described Doug not as the eldest son of a famous senator, but as her protector, her confidant, and the family member who made every room feel lighter, simply by entering it. "People think they know our family because they've seen my father on television or read my op-eds," Meghan said in a widely circulated audio clip. "But they never knew Doug, and that's exactly how he wanted it." According to Meghan, Doug deliberately stepped away from the political spotlight that consumed much of the McCain family's public identity. While her father, John McCain, ran for president and spent decades in the U.S. Senate, while Meghan herself became a co-host on The View and a prominent political commentator, Doug quietly pursued a career in aviation. He served as a Navy pilot flying the A-6 Intruder and later became a captain for American Airlines. "He wasn't avoiding us," Meghan clarified. "He was choosing himself. He loved flying more than he ever loved politics, and he loved his family more than anything else." Doug McCain's death in November 2020 came with little warning. At 66 years old, he was not elderly. He remained active, sharp, and deeply engaged in the lives of his wife Ashley and their two children, Caroline and Shep. The initial public announcement from the McCain family was brief, respectful, and understandably guarded. Meghan posted a tribute on social media at the time, calling Doug one of the kindest, funniest, and most loving people I have ever known. But she did not disclose the cause of death. That absence of information, combined with the suddenness of the loss, soon gave rise to quiet speculation. In breaking her silence now, Meghan addressed those unspoken questions directly. "I've seen the comments. I've seen people guessing. And I think it's time to stop the guessing," she said. According to Meghan, Doug died from complications related to a previously undiagnosed heart condition. Specifically, she revealed that an autopsy later showed significant coronary artery disease that had gone unnoticed because Doug had never experienced warning symptoms. "He was fit. He flew planes for a living and passed rigorous medical exams. No one saw this coming," she explained. Many listeners have asked why Meghan chose to wait several years before sharing these details publicly. In her own words, the answer is both simple and deeply human. Grief does not follow a schedule. "When Doug died, I was still processing my father's death from brain cancer just 2 years earlier," Meghan admitted. "I wasn't ready to relive another loss in public, and frankly, I didn't owe anyone an explanation while I was drowning in sorrow." She went on to explain that her family needed time to mourn privately, away from the relentless machinery of news cycles and social media commentary. The McCain name, she noted, has always attracted intense scrutiny, and she felt protective of Doug's widow and children. "Ashley didn't sign up for any of this public attention. Neither did Caroline or Shep. Doug gave them a private life, and I was not going to be the one to rip that away while they were still trying to breathe." One of the most powerful aspects of Meghan's recent remarks is her candid discussion of how sibling loss differs from other forms of grief. She explained that when her father died, the world mourned with her. There were memorials, tributes from world leaders, and an outpouring of public sympathy. But when Doug died, she felt strangely alone in her sorrow. "People sent condolences, of course, but sibling loss is the hidden grief," she said. "Everyone expects you to lose your parents eventually. No one expects you to lose your big brother when you're both still in middle age." Meghan described how she and Doug shared a unique bond rooted in their childhood experiences as the children of a famous prisoner of war turned political powerhouse. We understood things about each other that no one else ever could. The weight of the name, the expectations, the way people look at you differently when they find out who your father is. Doug, she said, was the one person she never had to explain herself to. He just got it. And now that he's gone, I feel like I'm the only person left who remembers certain parts of our childhood. In her recent statements, Meghan also took the opportunity to correct a persistent rumor that had circulated online for years, namely, that she and Doug were estranged or had a strained relationship. I've seen people write that we didn't get along, that we disagreed about politics, that we weren't close. Nothing could be further from the truth, she said firmly. While she acknowledged that Doug was more politically conservative than she is, she described their disagreements as loving debates, not battles. She shared a specific memory from 2018 during her father's brain cancer treatment. Doug flew across the country multiple times to be with her at the hospital. He held my hand when I couldn't stop crying. He made terrible jokes to make me laugh, and he never once made me feel like I was too emotional or too much. Those moments, Meghan said, are the real story of their relationship, not the fictional narratives created by internet speculation. For the first time, Meghan also provided a timeline of Doug's final days. She explained that he had been feeling unusually fatigued for about a week before his death, but attributed it to stress and a busy travel schedule. He wasn't the type of person to complain or run to the doctor over every little thing, she said. On the morning of his death, Doug kissed his wife goodbye, went out to run an errand, and collapsed in a parking lot. Bystanders called 911 and performed CPR, but by the time paramedics arrived, he was already gone. There was no dramatic hospital scene. There was no chance to say goodbye, Meghan recalled, her voice breaking. Ashley had to identify his body. That image has never left her. The medical examiner later determined that a major coronary artery had become almost completely blocked, leading to a fatal heart attack. The doctors told us that even if he had been in a hospital when it happened, the survival odds were very low. That's how severe the blockage was. While the title of Meghan's recent commentary suggests she is breaking silence on a mystery, the truth she reveals is less about scandal and more about the quiet tragedy of unexpected loss. Doug McCain was not a public figure. He left behind no memoirs, no television appearances, and no political legacy. What he left behind, according to his sister, is something far more valuable: the memory of a man who lived with integrity, loved without condition, and asked for nothing in return. Doug never wanted to be famous, Meghan said. He wanted to fly planes, love his wife, raise his kids, and be a good brother, and he succeeded at all of it. In breaking her silence, Meghan McCain has done more than answer questions about her brother's death. She has given the world a portrait of a man who chose a private life and found profound meaning in it, and perhaps in doing so, she has reminded all of us that the most important stories are not always the loudest, but they are the ones worth telling.